Great man, come on, be a great woman, be a strong man, show the American how the American and get over. Get up, come on, get up, unite, you got to start with your neighborhood. Let's keep them clean because we should get children and farm and then they would not go to be supposed to be good if you want to do some good. Get up, get the most important part must be dealt to your country is dealt to act to your community as well to get your children some help. We got to listen to what I tell you to put the world in the right state of health. We make the world by making yourself to get up, unite, get up, unite, come on, get up, unite,
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen wa Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Alhamdulillah, thank you for joining us this morning for All Things Human. Alhamdulillah, we're continuing on a subject. It started with the beginning of this lecture, whose last 21 minutes or so we just aired, and we've been airing for portions of it for the past month, let's call it. And so it started out with under the theme and topic of Satan, hypocrites, history, and the Word of God. It's a mouthful, but there's a lot to be said. We're going to go on. We're going to continue with that today. As I said last week, we want to just revisit the last 20 minutes or so of that lecture as we did, and then continue with this content. So alhamdulillah, so welcome Facebook, YouTube, Blog Talk. Alhamdulillah, we're going to go on. If there is some remaining time, you're invited to have comments at that point. We'll have to see how it goes right now as far as timing is concerned. But for now, let's go. So, what's the ultimate goal? I mean, the ultimate goal for this is to understand exactly what the heading of the topic speaks to: Satan, hypocrites, history, and the Word of God. It's important. It's important for, in my view, my personal agenda, if you will, for right now, is that we understand how manageable and how managed the society actually is. We lived in a very, very managed, very, very controlled and directed environment, society. And it's been controlled and managed and directed for so long. Most people in the society, which speaks to the success of the management and the control, most people in society do not feel managed. They don't feel managed. They don't feel controlled. They don't feel directed, even though almost 100% of the society, I said almost 100% of the society is controlled, managed, and directed in all those ways. And we've said so much, and there's so many quotes that we could bring bearing on that. We're just simply not going to do it. The point is that is the case. But because of the depth of the management and the power and the level of control it's like it really for the majority of the people, just about whatever you said in front of them, it's not going to make a dent right away, and if at all, on most of the people. It takes the blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for people in today's society to be set free in the most real sense of it. One of the lines that we said earlier in broadcast that bears repeating now is that the master key for the dominators is the destruction of free will and the destruction of the ability to think and reason autonomously. That's a big deal. If you take that as rhetorical, if you take that like that's, I don't know, whatever kind of way you can push back on that, it's a problem. But then that means that the victory has been had on anybody with that mind. Your free will has been destroyed, and your ability to think and reason autonomously has been taken away from you. And so therefore, they have become successful. And such people will be the kind of reactive individuals that the dominators are looking for. So let's move on. A couple of things that I want to get into the frame this morning is Imam Muhammad talked about being a healthy capitalist during this particular lecture, just to connect you with the idea. And in an earlier portion of the same lecture, which was a ta'aleem from Harlem in 1984, that spoke to sustained progress. And he made the statement that capitalism and communism are two hands of the same master manipulator. Capitalism and communism are two hands of the same master manipulator. Imam Muhammad spoke also earlier in this same lecture about just a simple analogy, which is a true abstraction, a true representation, which is the type that we need, not just the idea that it's true, but it has to be simple. And a true and simple illustration that he gave is that it's easy to manipulate the masses. It's easy to manipulate the herd, okay? So all you have to do is fire a shot on one side of the herd, and the herd will run in the opposite direction. You want them to move left, then fire a shot on the right. You want them to move right, fire a shot on the left. You want them to go forward, fire a shot from behind. You want them to turn around, fire a shot from in front of them. That firing a shot is basically just an analogy for create some kind of distraction, or particularly fear. Fear. We do not understand. I don't think we've embraced as fully as we need to the idea that fear is a main tool of the master manipulator. Fear. Monsters Inc. We could go a long way about that, but we're not gonna do that either. The idea is just create a monster, create a boogeyman, create the most recent enemy. Tell the herd, we don't like them. We don't like him. We don't like her. And it's a hypnotic aspect, a hypnotic tool, a hypnotic strategy that is used literally. I'm not saying that's rhetorical. We say rhetorical. No, hypnotic. It is a hypnotic. I reference it. I'll do it again now. To find stare into the lights, my pretty. Let me get that absolutely correct. Go online and look for that. Stare into the lights, my pretties. It's a YouTube piece. We spoke about it last week. I'm not going to spend more time with it. I'm trying to conserve time, but I want to give you the frame. You want to get that? You want to understand that in detail? Stare into the lights, my pretties. Another one is the century of the self. The century of the self. And you should. Well, he's talked about enough in there. Bernays, Bernays, uh, uh, Sigmund Freud's nephew, who is basically the father of the propaganda system that's basically still in place, used in this by the manipulators, the magicians of this world. So I've given you two: stare into the lights, my pretties, the century of the self. Get those. You'll go a long way to understanding what I'm saying. It is truly the idea of waking up. I need to mention this other thing because you need to understand. If you don't understand this, then you're sleepwalking. It's very important. So let's see. Yes. Find the movie Dark City. Dark City. Okay. It stars, I believe, Kiefer Sutherland. Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland is in it. But it's really it's a sci-fi, but it's the truth. In fact, it's the truth like Wag the Dog. If you haven't seen Wag the Dog, it's like you're missing some important content for understanding what I'm saying. The Dark City piece is the idea about people being put to sleep and woke up, put to sleep in one condition, and they wake up in another condition, and their memory is wiped about the previous condition. And so these alien, quote unquote, experimenters are trying to see what is the role of, again, consciousness, memory, nature, nurture, just like they're doing in this world, just like they're doing in this world right now. So that's what's going on now. Don't think that these things are so disconnected. I mean, the tentacles of this force, these forces. I don't know. I guess one reason that the tentacles can be more exposed is that people are more anesthetized, so they're less likely to identify the tentacles as tentacles. That's one. Number two is because of that numbness. Because of that numbness, the manipulators in so many ways have had to become more overt in what they're doing in order. It's like a junkie, dope fiend, whatever, someone who's addicted, needing a higher dosage of something in order to have maintain the same kind of effect. And also it's arrogance as well. You know, the idea is that most people don't know what they're talking about anyway. And if anybody comes up with anything that exposes us, then all we have to do is just, gaslight them or gaslight the people. And since we control what the people believe and the opinions that they have, then all we have to do is just make this person look crazy. We make the person look crazy, and then those people who are under our spell, staring into our lights, they're going to say, oh, he crazy, oh, she crazy. And we don't have to worry about them coming to their aid or to their defense and the like. That's the world that we live in. I want to mention some other elements to you. I'm saying, if you want to understand, if you think my attitude, if you think my sense of confidence, my sense of matter of fact about these things that I'm saying, if you think that that's the right mood, attitude, disposition to have, then you need to look at these things that I'm telling you about. You look at these things that I'm telling you about, and you can come to that state, and it's a good state. It's a good state. That sense of freedom, that sense of autonomy, that sense of the ability to see the tentacles, if you will, and see the strategies and also, and this is really what I'm working towards for as far as the sharing is that, and go get your share of this material world in the process. And don't lose your share, and don't be distracted. Don't follow the little red laser dot like they get the cats to chase the little red laser dots because they don't want. There was one of the satirical movies. I don't know. I wasn't watching the whole thing. I'm just remembering that this particular scene. I don't know. Maybe it's one of those 3D type flicks. Doesn't matter. The point is, there's this giant saber-toothed tiger that, you know, it's that moment where there's that they're about to pounce on the quote unquote the heroes or the stars of the movie, whatever it was. But what somebody pulls out one of those red laser whatever pointers, and they shine it on the ground, the floor, the wall, what have you. And so this big giant tiger gets distracted, and they're able to keep that lion, that tiger, chasing the red dot. And so they're no longer a threat to them, because of what the people with the red dot know about the nature of that otherwise vicious and consuming beast. Don't worry about it. We got this. Shine the red dot, and now they're distracted. Bread and circus is old strategy. Look that up. Bread and circuses. All of that is designed to keep the monster, which the herd, the masses of people are actually seen by these people as a beast, as a monster that has to be controlled. I'm talking about people that are not under their control and not on their level and not inside of their quote unquote secrets are a monstrous threat to them. But just like that tiger, they understand the nature of the beast. And understanding the nature of the beast, if they can keep them on the level of the beast, then they can distract them with a simple red dot. All right. So the whole Wag the Dog, that whole movie is about perceptions, optics, illusions that are created by the dominators of the mass media. There's a YouTube piece that talks about the echo chamber that is the commercial news media. It is an echo chamber. It's a piece. I'm sorry, I don't know the name of it, but you look it up. Just put it. Say everybody in the news media is reading from the same script. Put something in, type something in like Google or whatever, and it'll come up and it'll show you where across the country, different networks reading exactly the same script. One may state it in the key of E and somebody may state it in the key of D for that analogy, but they are all reading the same script. And if we're all listening to no matter what channel, but on every channel, they are reading the same script, then that is a stare into the lights, my pretties kind of moment, a herd management. And think about that. Why is it called herd? H-E-R-D. It's called the herd, right? But what about H-E-A-R-D? H-E-A-R-D. Imam Muhammad, alhamdulillah, the wake up man. The one who woke us up, he's saying, listen, for every homonym, there's a synonym. For every homonym, there's a synonym. Language is the master tool in the world and in this society particularly. So in terms of herd and herd, how are people manipulated? People are being manipulated by what they heard. They're being manipulated by what they heard. And inshallah, if you hear the right thing, hear the word of the Lord and live. If you hear the right thing, you can be set free. But if you hear the wrong thing and follow it, you're going to be enslaved by the people who are controlling the herd, i.e. what is heard. And so then you get in a conversation about, well, I heard that so-and-so is blah, 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 blah. Did you hear that blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah? So it's the herd. So if you follow everything that you've heard, then you may find out that you are a part of a herd, because you're only acting on what you heard. You're not acting on what you know. You're not acting on what you think. You're not acting on what you have researched and discovered. You're acting on what you heard. And as long as you act on what you heard, and look at your actions and say, why are you acting that way? Why are you acting that way? Are you acting that way because of something that you know? Are you acting that way because of something you reasoned out? Or are you acting that way because of something you heard? You heard on TV, heard on the radio, heard on YouTube, heard on Facebook, heard it on whatever. Get out of that. Okay. Further, I want you to know that this power and governance of, I was trying to avoid going to this, but I can't help it. You know, they're bringing ISIS back into our attention now, right? Where'd they go? Where'd they go? Now they're back. Now that the Taliban thing going, they come back, and I think they supposedly have ISIS shooting at the Taliban. It's like, man, you can't. Who's on first? You know, that is something that we better hurry up and wake up. There might be one of those little red dots that they are trying to get us, if you are among those masses, to get you to chasing that, trying to figure that out, and whose side you're on, whose side you're not on. Man, just wake up and say, I'm not playing. Listen to what I'm saying. Somebody's throwing you a game. They threw you a ball. They threw you the ball. The reaction that they expect from you, the fixed action pattern, sign stimulus, we talked about it, modal action pattern, Pavlov's dog type behavior. They throw you the ball. And the game is for you to throw the ball back. If you throw the ball back, then the game has started. If you say, I'm not playing, well, then the game stops. With you, it's like, no, I'm not playing that game. I see the ball. I'm not playing that game. I see the dot. I'm not following it. So I see the trigger. And that's another thing. They put that language out there in the world right now. Yeah, he got triggered. She got triggered. Well, who's pulling the trigger? Who's pulling the trigger? Who gave you the trigger to even think about? Right? Yeah, same guy. And that's a metaphor. I'm searching. I'm just realizing how long this document is. Imam Muhammad, rahimahullah, March 21st, 1982. He says, the highest knowledge of man in society, it comes from Pharaoh and Egypt. This is the title of the transcript, or the source of this quote from the Imam, March 21st, 1982. Said, the highest knowledge of man in society is the science of his spirituality. And believe me, you're not ruled by guns, talking about triggers that comes in, bullets. When you look at bullets, find out what bullet actually means. It's connected with ball. Okay. You're not ruled by guns. You're not subdued because of great physical knowledge. You are subdued because there are people in this world who know more about your spirituality. Please listen. Who know more about your spirituality. I'm seeing if I have a picture over here. Don't. Who know more about your spirituality than you do. And they're able to use the tools of science that they have regarding your spirituality to manipulate you and keep you under adverse spirits. I'm looking at an image now. I'm gonna have to upgrade my skill set for as far as especially the StreamYard presentation where we have pictures for. We can project for Facebook and YouTube, but that's coming, inshallah. Make dua for me on that. But I'm looking at an image right now. Look under ISIS, the image of ISIS. So you can think about ISIS, moonlight. So you can type in the Ankh, ISIS, the goddess of the moon, I think Hathor, something like that. Just type that. I'm trying to get you to get to a place where you can find this image. So she has the image of the falcon, I believe it is, with who's supposed to be Horus on her head, and then you have the moon, which is also on her head, and she has she's holding the Ankh, the key of life, circle on that looks like a cross, but with a circle on the top. And actually, the part I'm looking at this image now, there's a way that you can look at it and say, that's just like a hoodie. It looks like a hoodie the way it is. So I get that too. But the key thing on this particular image that I'm looking at right now is that when you look at it, the right hand is holding the Ankh and the left hand is on her thigh. The left hand is on her thigh. The Ankh is in her right hand on her knee, and her left hand is on her thigh, but her left hand is actually a right hand. Her left hand, because where the baby finger should be is actually a thumb. You can't, only if you're not paying attention or if you don't know that it's something to be looked at, would you not even pay attention to that. But I'm saying, as I've mentioned, that means that she has two right hands. That's what it means. She has two right hands. So I have a conscious control of what's going on in the society, which is the Ankh, the key of life. But I also have a conscious control of the unconscious makeup of the people in the society. That's the right hand. So my right hand is also has the power of control of the unconscious makeup. So I have the scientific understanding, I have a rational understanding of the subjectivity of the people. All right. Now I'm about to say something more about movies. Movies are the main door that the current dominators, manipulators, main way they enter into the subjectivity of the people and control the people from the inside without people even knowing that they are controlling. I have to go back and look at it. I'll find it. Inshallah, I believe this is the right name of the movie, Dreamcatcher. I believe it's called Dreamcatcher. I'm just going to I'll mention it. If you're interested in following up to seeing if it's what I'm talking about, then do that. But given that that's the right title for the movie, that whole Dreamcatcher, the whole idea, the whole movie system is about dreams. In fact, it's described as public dreaming. Going in the theater, they want those theaters open again for sure. Going into the theater is public dreaming. Everybody's put into this dark room, flashing light in front of them, and basically removing all objectivity to release themselves, to be free, to engage what's being projected on the screen. But what actually is happening is that people are coming in and accepting to be a subject. They're accepting to be a subject. Subject to what? Subject to what is on the screen being projected back into your consciousness. And if you don't have the objectivity, if you don't have that ability to critique what's coming into you in any way, and you have no interest in doing that, well, then it's a matter you're just coming in to be hypnotized for a couple of hours. And all they have to do is put some kind of suggestion into your head as an unconscious hypnotized subject. And now you go back out into the streets. You go back out into the streets with that post-hypnotic suggestion laying in your unconscious makeup. And that thereby is the way that's their trigger. You want to talk about a trigger? That's the trigger. So they just pull the trigger. Manchurian Candidate. They just pull the trigger whenever they want to pull the trigger. So when somebody does something crazy, sometimes we're just not ready to acknowledge and admit that, listen, There are people who are Darren Brown. Look him up. Darren Brown and the mass mall experiment. Brown, whatever, spell however you want to spell it. Darren, Derin, Brown, and then the mass mall experiment. And you'll see how masses of people can be controlled by one person in a very short period of time. Okay. All right. So the point is, so here they come back. Now you got the Afghanistan, you got the Taliban, then you got ISIS. Not then they didn't just stop with ISIS. Now it's ISIS K. What is that? I'm not looking for it. I'm not looking. If it happened to show up at a time when I'm doing something and somebody said, well, ISIS K is something. Okay, good, got that. But I'm not going looking for it. It's a red dot. In fact, that's what they call distractions in arguments, red herrings. It's a red herring. A red herring, man, it's just something to get you off the track. It's so you go over there. As soon as you start thinking, you start waking up, start being conscious of something, so you start seeing the tentacles, then boom, they fire a shot to the left, fire a shot to the right, and make you think that this is the big thing that you're supposed to pour your brain into, pour your energy, pour your time, pour your sentiments, pour your emotions into this now. Man, it's a red dot. It's a red herring. You better be on your own project. What you working on? What are you working on? What are you trying to build? What are you trying to establish? What are you working on that secures the obligation that Allah put on you when it says, "Well, takum minkum ummatan yad'una ila al-khair"? What part of that are you working on? Right? And see everything else as a distraction. What do you mean? Everything. Headlines. Headlines are distracted. They're not right there. Headlines. They're putting a line in your head, or they lining your head up with something, or they're putting your head into a particular line of thought. Either way, or your headlines. That's a headline too. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. So this is game, right? All right, now let's go back to where we were headed on that. It's still on track, but just since these things that I'm adding to my original statements line up so well, I said, well, let's go ahead and use it. Do you know that the former CIA director, and now I just saw some articles just before coming on. I had forgotten his first name, the former CIA director, John McLaughlin. You remember they used to have what you call the McLaughlin report, but that's not the guy. It's a different guy. This is John McLaughlin. All right. He's writing articles right now about the Afghanistan, et cetera, et cetera. I don't even know who now I gotta at least tell you. Okay, I'm looking at my history. Who is this? Yes, I saw an article from him. The end game in Afghanistan, Darker Clouds Gather by John McLaughlin, right? Now, let me read his brief bio, his headline for this article, right? Haven't read the article, may or may not read the article. And I would only read it not because of the Afghanistan piece as much as, okay, I know this guy and I know the part of the page that he's on. So let me see what he's saying. And so it's like if he's firing a shot on the left, then I probably need to be looking over there on the left because he's trying to get the herd to run to the right. So if he's firing the shot, I need to look behind him or look where he's standing because that probably is where the goodies are right there. And like the Imam was saying in his lecture, he said, the reason the Democrats take you for granted is because you've given a loyalty that's not based on anything. And so therefore they don't have to concern themselves about you or your vote. But let's read it. So it says John McLaughlin is the former deputy director of the CIA. He writes a regular column on Ozzy, which is where I'm looking right now. It's online. I don't know what Ozzy stands for. It's probably the Wizard of Oz. But either way, it's a column on Ozzy, not on purpose, not for you and me, but that's them laughing in your face. It said he writes a regular column on Ozzy called Global Eye. Oh, come on. Pyramid, the all-seeing eye, supervisor, top of the hierarchy, the global eye. The global eye. Foreign, and also Monsters Inc. You remember Monsters Inc., that the one-eyed creature, and also the Suicide Squad, one-eyed creature. Okay, Cyclops. All right. So global eye, foreign affairs through an intelligence lens, and teaches at Johns Hopkins University's School of Advanced International Studies. It's SAIS. We have to spend some time with that to unpack it. Yeah. SAIS. Okay. That's John McLaughlin. Well, what's the big point that I want to make with him? John McLaughlin is a world-class magician. I'm talking this literally. This was, of course. It is now, and it was the case before he became the CIA director. John McLaughlin was a world-class magician, prestidigitator. The goal is to do stuff in people's face, and they can't figure out how you did it, and you make them believe or see something that is not there, or not see something that is there, or make something disappear that was there, and now nobody who was seeing it before knows where it went. Now you see it, now you don't. Magicians are scientists. And they're more scientists of human nature than of anything else. They're more scientists of human nature because their ability to delude and cast illusions has to do with what they understand about the nature of the psychology of the audience. Wag the dog. All right. So he's a world-class magician. That's one thing. Then also, these are just YouTube pieces that are there, if they are still there. You know, YouTube has a tendency to take stuff off if it says too much of what's wrong for the herd. Out of the Shadows, look that up. Out of the Shadows, YouTube, and it talks about CIA and Hollywood, right? And look right at about, I'm just going to say my notes. Look right at about 15 minutes and 10 seconds inside that video, that YouTube, Out of the Shadows, and you can just run it forward to about 15 minutes and 10 seconds, and you can see that CIA is and has been in Hollywood. It isn't. It's listen. I have no thing about CIA, FBI, whatever. I mean, it's like those are government agencies, doing whatever the government, wants them to do. It's like, I don't know if you think that the ages, we go back to when I talked about the century of the self, you can see, you'll find out where the very term Banana Republic came from. United Fruit Company. Look up CIA United Fruit Company. See it. This is all in the public record. But if you sleep, and you don't think that that's important, then you don't pay attention to it at all. MashaAllah. And I'm saying, I'm not even focused on this from being some kind of anti-government block. No, we need government. We want government. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, blah, blah. That's fine. Being an American is important. And I'm not trying to cover myself, because whatever's going to happen, it is going to happen. I'm not even tripping on that. What I'm saying is that this is what the Imam has been telling us and get us to understand. Look, just be autonomous. Just be individual. You don't have to be Republican. You don't have to be Democrat. You don't have to be, whatever, pro-Trump, anti-Trump. That's the trick. The trick is I'm against so and so, and I'm for so. Well, that's the game. As soon as I get you to decide whether you're red or whether you're blue, once I get you to decide that you're red or you're blue, well, you're in the game. You are in the game. Because what we do through the media is we will give a headline that would prop up the red folks to make the blue folks angry. And then once the blue folks get angry enough, then we'll give a headline that will prop them up and make the blue folks. I'm losing track who's on first, right? It's like who do we want to make angry today? Let's make the blue folks angry. Okay, boom. So now the red folks are going to get more desperate. Okay, so then when they get more and more desperate, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to shift it. And so now we're going to give a positive headline for the red folks. Yeah. Cha, cha, cha. All that is the way that they control this beast chasing the red dot, the red herring, and they're not bothering us, the one who are in charge of the lights that we have them staring into. All right. So out of the shadows, and you'll see that CIA has been in Hollywood just like forever. Hugh Hefner and Wonderland Studios. Look that up. Look that up. All right. Also, the former secretary is okay. Mnuchin is not the Secretary of Treasury anymore, right? He was Trump's Secretary of the Treasury, right? So I think it's Yellen. Is she the Secretary of Treasury? Doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't matter to me. The point is that the former Secretary of the Treasury, Mnuchin, Steve Mnuchin, he's also a movie maker. He came from the movie making, Relativity Studio. He come from movie making in Hollywood into the White House. Now look, where did Trump make his name from? You know, what was it? I forgot the name of it. The Apprentice. He did what he was doing otherwise, you know, using his name to be labeled on different buildings and different things like that. Failures one after another, but able to create the image. And that's what Hollywood is about. It's about make-believe. Make-believe. Listen to that. Make-believe. Right? Manufacturing what you believe. Oh, this is what I want you to believe. Okay, how can we get people to believe that? Well, you have to have a strong machine for make-believe. All right? And I'll make you believe it because I'm a magician and I'm a movie maker and I'm able to cast an illusion for you that makes you subject to the ideas that I want in your head. All right? So we need people who have that strength and that capacity. Try to find the article. I don't know if you can find it anywhere. I can't get my hands on it right here at this moment. But mashallah, it's in my archives. It's Architects of Terror. Architects of Terror. And you'll find one of the main movers behind that is also a movie maker. A movie maker. It's the ability. It's like Wag the Dog. It's an exposure about movie makers and how movie makers manipulate the optics to make the masses of people believe a thing that is the very opposite of the thing that's actually going on. But it shows you how in flight they're able to change the narrative in such a way that, okay, well, this happened. Okay, well, how can we fix that? Okay, well, let's spin it this way and then spin it that way. The history of spin. You should look that up too. It's very, very important. Okay. So what I've said so far is essentially to reinforce and state to you that this culture is under management. This culture is under management, and culture is the main thing. And I'll restate something from Lauren Greenfield, Lauren Greenfield, spelled the way it sounds, Greenfield, one word. She says, authentic culture can provide us a way to think critically. Remember, the aim of the dominators is for you not to be able to think. And so she's saying authentic culture can provide us a way to think critically about what's around us. My work is about having a way to deconstruct the cultures. If you don't touch that thing and try to see, just like they have this Free Guy, this movie is the Free Guy right now, or the True Man Show, which is basically saying same kind of thing, but that's the Free Guy and the True Man Show. It's like it's an update of the same trope or the same meme, the same message. Let's move on. So it says, you have to have a way to deconstruct the culture around us so we can kind of see the matrix that we are in and hopefully have a little agency over it. See, it's like you can't change anything that you are not independent of. You can't change anything that you are not independent of. I'll say it a third time. You can't change anything that you are not independent of. So if you are absorbed in and by the culture, you can't change it. You have to be independent of the culture in order to change it. But if every time the culture changes, you change, every time the culture brings an influence, you are subject to the influence that it brings. You don't have any agency over it. You are a subject of the culture. So you have to make an exodus. You have to make an exodus from the culture. In order to make an exodus from the culture, you have to be able to deconstruct it. You have to be disconnected from the matrix. It has to not be your umbilical cord that's feeding your thinking, feeding your language, spirit, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to, and if as it should comes to you, guidance from me, whoever follows my guidance, on such shall be no fear, nor shall they grieve. That's our independence. That's our way out. The thinking capacity that Al-Islam, the Quran, life model of Prophet Muhammad, and the insights of Imam Muhammad, I add that, as do many, to be really free. Because if you don't think that here's another movie you can find, The Lost Leonardo. The Lost Leonardo. I'm going to leave the connected right here at this point to making a statement that Muslims, just because you're a Muslim, doesn't mean that you're free. Just because you're Muslim doesn't mean that you're free. And I'm going to hold that. If you find The Lost Leonardo, if you can fast forward to the end of the movie, then you'll see what I'm talking about. The point is that you have to get that freedom. Now, it's about time to close out, so give me a chance at least to bring this one word, which, if you understand this one word, is central to everything that I'm saying. What I'm saying is that stare into the lights, my pretty. The old hypnotic methodology was to have this like a pocket watch at the end of a string, and they dangle it in front of the person and say, "You're getting sleepy, right?" So it's the pocket watch going back and forth as the tick-tock hypnotic kind of thing. Imam Muhammad, in this classic quote from As the Light Shineth in the East, he says, the cultural trends in America reveal the satanic operation of manipulative principle, covert operations, covertly operating in the culture, influencing the cultural thinking. By the operation of such covert principle, the culture swings in pendulum from oppressive states to liberal states, bringing us to a taste of good times followed by a taste of hell. Near the bottom of the arc in the pendulum swoop, social chaos and aberrant morality. This operation deceives the moral and rational vision of the common public and deny all Americans the freedom our nation proclaims. This whole, we're in a TikTok world, right? And they just come out with this app a little while ago, whatever, TikTok, right? And what do they bring with TikTok, right? It's the same game. It's like TikTok. Everybody, I'm gonna do a TikTok video. You got all the TikTok video. Man. Any case, what's the same shaitan, the same game? And of course, now you can use the technology if there's some other use other than entertainment, enter you to contain you. If there's some other use for it, then put it to that use. But I'm not worried. Do whatever you're gonna do. So the point is that TikTok, that's the manipulation. So the covert principle swings from one extreme to the other. Remember, I mean, it's always a quote unquote a funny thing and an eye-opening thing to me. Is I don't know who's who. I think the Republicans are the red and Democrats are the blue. I don't know. But the point is, when did that happen? I mean, when did it? I mean, literally, it just stopped being, whatever. Then it became red states, blue states, red, blue, and you don't make the connection between Crips and Bloods. If you don't make the connection between Crips and Bloods there, how overt and how flagrant, how blatant that is. That's shaitan laughing in your face, right? It's like now the Republicans, Democrats, Crips and Bloods, and they are just as vicious against each other as the Crips and Bloods originally were in their original state. That's another one to look for. The Bastards of the Party. You can find that movie, mashallah. You'll learn a lot. They are not, the Crips and Bloods are not quote unquote self-created. Okay. They had help. All right. But then once it gets started, then it takes on a life of its own, as Frederick Douglass said to Ida B. Wells. Even crime has the ability to reproduce itself and create the conditions necessary for its own existence. Once you get it started, it's a self-perpetuating kind of motivation. That's the world we live in. You and I live in a world that is driven by the dynamic of the oppositions that the masters are able to create for us, in us, through us. So once they get the oppositional states created in one group as opposed to the other group, then it's just TikTok. It's just TikTok. It's just a matter of time. And so here's the word. The word is enantiodromia. Understand this word, brother and sister. Then it's by understanding this word, you can rise above the TikTok. You can rise above the pendulum swing. You can rise above the manipulation through opposition. It's game, man. Enantiodromia is a 20th century word that was created called neologism. When I say neologism, it just means a new word. That's all that means. The origin is in the early 20th century from the Greek, which literally, enantiodromia, literally means running in opposite ways. That's what it means. Enantiodromia, enantiodromia. Enantiodromia, literally from the Greek, means running in opposite ways. The tendency, the definition, the tendency of things to change into their opposites. The tendency of things to change into their opposites. Okay? Especially as a supposed governing principle of natural cycles and of psychological development. Enantiodromia is similar to the principle of equilibrium. The reason that this, you seen that little thing with the 5 or 6 silver balls, and you pull one up and then it hits, and then the ball goes on the other end. So these opposing, the opposition in the system is what creates energy on the other side. And then there's a force that brings this one back down and returns that energy to the other side. And then it's TikTok all over again. Same thing. But it's by a scientific reality that the one who creates the machine understands the nature of the science related to it. And so they're able to create the effect because of what they know about the science. Well, then you can do that with human beings. When you understand human nature, when you understand human science, then you can create mechanisms by which the human being can be manipulated just as certainly as those silver balls on that little device. Okay. Enantiodromia is similar to the principle of equilibrium in the natural world, in that any extreme is okay, in order to restore balance. When things go to their extreme, they turn into their opposite. Okay. So if I pull something up, the system, which is gravity, with gravity in the system, the ones I'm describing, I pull something up, the system says no, things have to be in balance, have to be in balance. Okay. So therefore, gravity works to pull things back to balance. It's just by nature. Pull things back. So if you're going too far in a way here, gravity says, get back here. Boom. Right. And then that energy, the energy that's put here has to be balanced on the other side of it. And so the energy gets distributed there, but then gravity says, no, get back. Boom. So it's the system seeking to keep a balance. When something goes up here, pulls it back down. When something goes up here, pulls it back down. Same way with the pendulum swinging. Go here, then energy says, no, come back. You're going too far. No, it come back. You're going too far. No, come back. That's our culture. Okay. What do they do? How is it done with regard to human nature? The real world Satan's strategy is to create a strategic problem. That is, they create a problem, firing a shot. Okay. And then they give birth to pairs of opposites. That's what you have to have opposition forces. We have to have, as in the movie Gangs of New York, that we can always use one half of the poor to kill the other half. So the one that's holding the pocket watch at the top of the pyramid, the supervisor, the golden eye that's watching everybody, and say, okay, how are we going to, we need opposition forces right now so we can keep them distracted. We need a red dot, red herring. We need a distraction. Okay. So let's create let's create a situation and then call everybody to take a position on it. That is, use our media to get people riled up, worked up, exercised, anxious, stressed about this thing. Oh, did you hear about wah? Oh, yeah, I think it's a good thing. Oh, hell no, it ain't a good thing. That's a terrible thing. What you talking about? It is a bad thing. So now you got a barroom brawl going on, people taking sides on the issue. The shaitan said, perfect. So now I find a strong voice for this one. They're no more free and critical and thinking autonomously than anybody else over here, but they're intelligent. So they have a mental machinery that enables them to articulate their sentiments, which is no more grounded in truth than this one is, because neither of them really know the truth. Neither of them know that we're the ones that created their positions. And so we have our thinkers to feed them and have our thinkers to feed them. And then we have them clashing with each other, tick-tock. So when you decide, I'm with him, I'm with her, well, you're on the train. You're in the game. It's like, okay, tick-tock, tick. So now you're spending time, spending money, spending emotion, following the red dot, following the red herring, wasting where's your mission? Where's your mission? Why you got to be on the corporate media mission to, we got to support so-and-so, we got to be against so-and-so, and then everybody on the other side, we got to support so-and-so. Well, okay, brother, what you saying? What we supposed to do? Don't get wrapped up and manipulated emotional by the headlines. Let's just keep it simple like that. Don't get emotionally wrapped up by the headlines. Yeah, and it includes that biggest thing that they're shining the lights in our eyes right now. I'm not going to say any more than about that. But if you think that is separate and apart from all of what I'm talking about, then you haven't woke up yet. You just haven't woke up yet. Well, what about it? You got to work it out. You got to work. You got to spend some autonomous, independent time researching, looking into that matter, and come to that place in your own heart, your own mind, with the help and the guidance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to understand what the reality is. God has to guide you to the reality. And that's it. So I have to end with this. That swinging pendulum, look here, the closer you are to the end of it, then the wider the swings. The wider the swings. But imagine moving up that line, that chain, or what have you, that string that the ball is swinging. Imagine yourself moving higher and higher. As you move higher and higher, the extremes get reduced. Down here, string they are wide. But now, if you move higher and higher and higher and higher, you finally get to a point where there is no swing. There is no swing. Now, for as far as the Jacobite, Shaitan, etc., as in his governance of his society, they are free from the wide swings because they're the one that's doing the swinging. But from the perspective of us as servants and believers in God, when we rise above it, or the way we rise above it, is coming closer to what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has ordered. When we come more and more to Tawheed, more and more to this oneness, that's the end of duality. We come more and more to oneness in terms of what we should do. تَعْمَرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنْكَرِ. Independently, you look at it. It doesn't matter if things swung to the right or things swung to the left. Doesn't matter. What's right under the circumstance? فَاسْتَبِقُوا الْخَيْرَاتِ. What does all this call for? Calls for the independent capacity to deconstruct what's going on, to think autonomously, to operate upon free will, seeking the guidance and the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, thinking upon the frames that Allah has given you, the methodologies that Allah has given in your nature, and the knowledge that's available to you to look at something. You look at the headlines. If you look at the headline, okay, so this is going on. Okay, what's your position? What's your position? And it's based on what? What's the principle that's driving the way you infer, the way you reason, the way you come to conclusion? What's driving that? Do you have some talking head that's your main guy or girl or what have you to tell you, oh, yeah, I think like she think, I think like he think, I believe. If that's the case, I mean, that's fine, but make sure that you have an autonomous position and that position is grounded in what you can say for yourself, that God says this in the Quran, Prophet Muhammad has modeled this for me, and if you follow Imam Muhammad's way of reasoning, say, well, Imam Muhammad has said X, Y, Z, and so therefore this is my position. Oh, but that's the same position that Trump took. Hey, that's Trump. Good for him. The point is, that's my position, and I'm sticking to it. And that's how you got to be. You gotta go out on what you decide is the right position for you to be. When a thing troubles a piece of your heart, give it up. Consult your heart. So when you do that, after that, during that, and before that, it's all on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All right, brothers and sisters. So, alhamdulillah, I thank you for your time and attention. That's going to be it for today. Yeah, that's gonna be it for today. Sorry, we don't have time for further comment, but inshallah, at another time, we will. God's peace be on you, everybody. Have a wonderful day. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.